Coach Ian Foster will be at the helm of the All Blacks through till the 2023 Rugby World Cup. That's the news out from the All Blacks camp today. They didn't say a heck of a lot. It's not like it was an advertised role. They've essentially just extended Fozzie's contract. He was initially on a 2-year deal. And that's become a 4-year deal. It wasn't like they made him reapply for his job or anything. It wasn't a direct race between him and Razor. But he's just given a contract extension. You may or may not be aware, like it's pretty standard practice. Steve Hansen was on a 2-year contract when he first got the All Blacks gig as well. So it's not like the initial 2-year deal was like a particular lack of faith in Fozzie. But the extension for 2 years is essentially showing a bit of faith in what he's been doing. They pretty much just talked about how it gives him certainty going forward. And he's able to kind of pick a team without kind of that sort of Damocles above his head, I suppose. The only thing I'm kind of particularly happy about is it does give him a bit more license to experiment. I feel like if they're heading into this tour of Europe and the remainder of the Rugby Championship, not knowing who's going to be the coach, then Fozzie's kind of expected to not blood as many players. So it may be a short-term more winning record and then a longer-term kind of lack of investment in players towards 2023. Because it's still a couple of years. A lot can change in that time. But I must say, I am a bit disappointed we don't get to see Fozzie's All Blacks take on the Springboks before they made this decision. That's particularly disappointing. If we go over his record quickly, you can see 2020, and they talked about this a bit, particularly disrupted year, man. Like, nobody's 2020 was a great year. With the pandemic, he had a very limited kind of set of games and not all as much time to build with the players and whatnot. Super Rugby was disrupted. So, 2020 was a pretty rubbish year. And it was a pretty rubbish year for his coaching record. Finishes with a 50-50 success rate. Plays the Aussies 3 times. Gets a win, loss, and draw. Sorry, 2 wins, a loss, and a draw against the Aussies. The draw being first, then a couple of wins, and then a narrow loss. Then 2 games against Argentina results in a 50-50 split, 1 win, 1 loss. So 50-50, a 50% win rate for the All Blacks head coach is pretty atrocious, to be honest. Even if it's a pandemic, man, there should be no situation where the All Blacks are at a 50-50 win rate. But I guess you could say they still managed to win the Tri-Nations in like the least convincing fashion ever. But they retained the Bledisloe. So in terms of like the trophy cabinet, it was as good as could be expected. 2021 has gone a lot more positively with a 100% win rate, albeit not really fully tested yet against Tonga, which was an understrength Tonga team to begin with, and Tonga, even at full strength, would probably struggle to play the All Blacks over here in New Zealand. 2 games against Fiji, which ended up pretty comfortable wins. Or, tested in some facets of the game, but still pretty comfortable. And then 2 wins over the Wallabies. So 5 from 5 are the All Blacks. Wallabies had to have 2 games over here. So they've played 5 games at home and gotten 5 wins. As I said, haven't played Argentina, haven't played the Springboks, haven't played any of the Northern Hemisphere teams yet. So you feel like the tougher games, with all due respect to the teams we've played thus far, I mean, even just getting away from home, are still on the horizon. So the overall win rate, I think, like 72 or something %? But, it's not that flash thus far. I mean, you can look at it and say, yep, retained the Bledisloe twice, won the Tri-Nations, which was on offer, albeit unconvincingly. But, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I mean, obviously, everyone's kind of excited to see what happens with Scott Robertson now. He's extended with the Crusaders, but I do believe he's kind of got some kind of escape clause in his contract. I'm not sure if that was to take over the All Blacks or whether it's if he gets any international role. It will be an interesting one whether he sticks around in New Zealand to try and see what happens after 2023. But either way, we will know that Ian Foster is going to be the man in charge of the All Blacks heading forward. So, like I mentioned, it's been a pretty disruptive time. His time in charge, his captains have been out injured for quite some time, had a pandemic to deal with, a pretty disrupted first year. so far so good in 2021, barring some kind of off the field stuff. But anyway, we will see how things play out. You guys let me know what you reckon. Do you think Fozzie is the right choice? Can you see Fozzie's All Blacks, making a World Cup final? Are they going to have what it takes? Or do you think this is a move in the wrong direction? Don't get me wrong, Fozzie is not a sexy pick by anybody's estimation, man. The attractive pick is to go with Scott Robertson because he's been a head coach. He's been winning trophies for fun since as long as he's been a head coach. Whereas Fozzie's just been the assistant who's kind of taken over and not exactly set the world alight. But some promising signs in the last couple of games. So anyway, I'm definitely not going to write the guy off. I'll get behind him, get behind the boys, and see if they can repay this faith shown them. Like I said, the main thing I would have loved to have seen is them play the Springboks first. But it's not going to happen. Anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.